Welcome to 1407 Gray Malkin Lane. This is the living memory of the X-Men. Don't let anyone tell you different. I bring back Wolverine Gold, Mike, friend of the show, and we are here to do part 2 of the new X-Men Academy X
Childhood and the collection.
Kill the children. Kill the
there are so many. It's traumatic. Let's get into it.
House of M kind of started everything. Let's get into it.
So House of M. It started it off, and
they made Danny. All right, let's talk about the characters. Like they made Danny look like Domino. Apparently, he always wanted to be Domino. That's interesting.
I love that they brought. Oh wait, no, never mind. Into the whole from lovers to enemies, and she literally kills him.
Yeah.
So I think I love the juxtaposition there. And House of M was also was the first time that they mentioned Karma's gayness and her being a lesbian, and just throwing it out there, it was a different universe, and it was very implied. It was also brought up in a very hormonal mind rapey way. I think that they've done a lot of work since then with Akihiro and other.
They really just toned it down because originally he was supposed to be so rapey, but now
really was
but now they just turned it down oh yeah, I basically have a version of Wind Dancer's power, of Wallflower's power.
Right. Yeah. I did not love what they did to Soroya, though I do like that they showed that it came from a place of her wanting to assimilate in not just the X-Men, but in America. And I think that was one of the things that so many of the people who love Dust is because she doesn't, she stays firmly who she is. And loved that. I also think that I liked the dichotomy between Elixir and Wither in M Day, where they were good cop, bad cop, literally.
That's weird. Just that. I thought they hate each other.
Say what?
Because they hate each other.
But as we saw, there are so many people who not only are just on different teams, but have different friendships. One of my favorite things about this as well is that they blend both the new Mutants and the old New Mutants together in teams, with magic, on Shield, they did a really good job of blending the older with the newer. I mean, Prodigy was talking right next to Cypher. And honestly, I think that those two characters are very reflective of it. Prodigy is the Cypher of the Academy X people.
They made clear reference to that later on in the
in the later issues. In issue I think it was 29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was action packed though. That was crazy. Okay. Also, we talked about this last time with Tag.
Yes. Okay, so not only was he the first one to,
it seems like he's gay.
Tag is the gay X-Men that Prodigy ended up becoming, that, if that makes sense, because in the first part, in our last recording, we saw how he followed Julian. He was the first one to be no, I got you.
That's my best friend. We hang out together all the time. And I understood that he was the Ron to his hair, to Julian's Harry.
I think that with his
And
close
they're best
friendship,
friends. They're not sleeping together, Mikey. They're not sleeping together. Okay.
that's to be
Julian
debated
was
on
sleeping
Twitter.
with
That's to be
Sophia.
debated on Twitter. But here's the thing. He endlessly follows Quentin in M Day. And like he's the one that like will not give up the fact that like Quentin didn't kill himself. And I
He's a
also
true
wanted to bring
friend.
up
That's a true
in
friend.
what?
That's a true friend.
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. But I couldn't help but feeling like it was going just a little bit more, you know? And I think that that paired with the issue 22, the Danger Cave.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Where where Tag was Storm, I was like,
he's like, what are
I
you
feel
trying to
like
do
there
with
was
this,
some
bro?
coding in there, you know, like specifically for Tag.
But like, come on, man. That was good. I thought like that was just like David being a dick. He playing the one black, making him the one black character. He was
well. I mean, David was right there. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Seems sus to me.
no, not everything's coded, man. Sometimes people
But Tag, like, go back and here's the thing. Like, even if he's not, go back and do a rereading with the what if he is gay, and I promise you, you will start to see the like the crumbs, so to speak, you know, the metaphorical crumbs.
yeah, of course, and it would make his it would be interesting because Julian, as far as we know, he's straight. Like he's never implied that he's loyal to his friends, but like
Yeah.
he loves Sophia. I would
Yes.
love I would love to see a story like like a uh, a love triangle, but like the you know
With Laura,
and,
Sophia, and Julian.
yeah, and like and Brian is in love with Julian, and Julian's like, bro, you're my best friend. I love you too, but we're not. I don't love you that way.
See, they tried to do that with Richter and Shatterstar, and I really think that that would have
I thought
worked
that
with
was
Tag and Hellion. I think it really like there's. I mean, I don't want to assume anyone's gender, especially during Pride.
no.
And
I
this is
know we're not.
Krakoa, and I am definitely
We're just looking at stuff.
right.
Like
But like in
the
my
way that
lookings, like
okay,
I agree. I don't see that turning out that way, but I do definitely love the whole post sexuality of Krakoa. But no, I think that he would be like, dude, I do love you, but like as my best friend, you know, like yeah.
that's how I always thought about the Richter and Shatterstar thing, because you got to remember, Shatterstar came in not being human at all. Like Rob Liefeld even said that Shatterstar is kind of like Pinocchio. He wants to be human.
What are the aliens from Mojoverse called?
Um, I forget the wingless one. No, I forget. Yeah, it's something I forget. I'll look into it.
Okay. I would be remiss if I am a big advocate that like especially reality warping is a in this day and age a could definitely be read well with a queer metaphor because like in M Day the mutants were the majority. They were the they were the popular. Not only were they the popular ones, but they were the majority. And as soon as they were the majority, they had to completely go back. And and history they show that um, like Germany had a thriving LGBTQ plus community.
Okay, real quick.
Before
I found out what Longshot is. He's from a master slave race, Mojo verse slave race, and they're called Freeman. He's
Freeman. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
but I think that like.
Thing. Okay. Here's the thing. How I see. Here's my counter to this. Here's how I say is the black thing. Like everybody was so.
We're gonna talk about that. We are gonna talk about it.
So accepting a black culture. Everybody was had a little where and then cut it. They cut it. It's not the same. It's not. I don't know. I saw it as I saw it as what it was, a giant war crime, as um Pearl Harbor in in the mutant version of Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see it as any kind of coded thing. I just saw it as, this is some bullshit done by creative.
No, I absolutely agree. I think that um I guess I wasn't articulating well. I think that like when there are mass changes, there is social pushbacks, and I think that even just that 4 issues of M Day, like there would have been a lot of people mad if mutants were the majority of the Marvel universe.
I mean,
Um
they would have. I mean, but it's a progression of the story because mutants are supposed to be the next step, aren't they?
yes. Yes. And I do think that much like the X-Men themselves, the metaphor that they represent will always change with time.
Right.
Um, uh, and that's not to say that it doesn't still represent other things,
Right.
like
Yeah, of
completely
course. Yeah.
erasing people's
It just depends on the
intersectionality.
reader.
And,
Yeah.
and going, yes. But going back to tag, I think that it's important that like when we talk about intersectionality with characters, especially the X-Men and X-Men that are black,
Right.
I think that it's important to always acknowledge their blackness first, because just like after M Day, when Tag was no longer a mutant and no longer had that as his main identifier, he was still a Black American. You know what I mean? And still
Yeah.
faced the everyday life that Black Americans go through.
Yeah.
But I always think that it's important for because while talking about the racial metaphor from a white X-Men perspective, like Kitty Pryde, doesn't work because their perceived whiteness is always what the reader will see. I think that it would have been absolutely more powerful for like a mutant like Storm or Prodigy or Tag, who to talk about their intersectionality from their point of view, if that makes sense.
No, no,
And I do think
absolutely.
that I'm sorry.
No, I know. I was saying I was agreeing. It would be but here's the thing though. It doesn't well, as we've seen with the history of the X-Men, we've had a tradition, white writers. Everybody, there's
Yes.
never been a black writer writing for the main X-Men title. And so,
Yes.
yes, I agree. It would be nice to get like Storm or Kitty instead of Kitty, or but to me it wouldn't really matter because we're still getting it from a white gaze.
Yes.
You know,
I agree.
no, I don't I like Claremont. He yes, but there's something where I want a
He,
little bit of
he
harsh.
didn't always hit the mark,
Yeah, yeah. Claremont doesn't. Claremont gives you the, oh, we could all work together, our kumbaya Benetton ad. We can, if we just get rid of all our prejudice. Like, a black writer would give you a harsh truth.
I do think that there's like a fundamental difference between historical movies about race and blackness in America from a director, like from a movie standpoint, from a director's point of view, because I think you're echoing that narrative. Because
Yeah,
when we watch historical black stories by white directors, there's always like an uplifting,
yeah.
white guy got the
We
bad
stop
guy.
racism.
Right.
That's how I always
Meanwhile,
thought Claremont used to do. I always thought,
yes.
yeah,
Meanwhile, like black directors will give you the harsh realities that we still feel echoed today, in America.
yeah, absolutely. And um, that's why I kind of like Tag, and rereading this. It's fun to see oh wow, Tag. It could be read two ways. Either Tag's a super ride or die. He's ride or die, or or he's into Julian, both which is cool.
And Quentin and M Day, and yeah, and I completely forgot about the storm, and he was like, "Get me out of this now!" And I was
right?
like,
that was funny. He's like,
I thought it was
bullshit, bro.
funny. It was great. I do want to talk about, because we are kind of bouncing back and forth between it. In the M Day, like, there are so many references to the Quest for Magic, or the third installment of
the I love that.
They literally,
I like how it's it's a build up.
Like, yes. Like,
I imagine if all right, if the House of X, if the Academy Kids were a TV show, they would have started out as like a mid-season replacement. Started out, and then like okay, they're pretty good, and then halfway, and then like something would have happened like near the end, and then next season we would have gotten like 4 big stories, like the Children of X-Men, the Magic, oh god, that was crazy. Nimrod.
Like they reference it in 16, where Magic is like, yeah, they gave me this magical sword from a special dimension. Maybe we could go there, but this is just a volcano. And it's like, okay, so can you not go to Limbo right now? Like, why can't M Day Magic go to Limbo? And then they foreshadow it in the Danger Cave. Like, they were like, oh shoot, this was when they went to Limbo. Just kidding. Let's change the scenario. And then, like, when they leave to go save Forge,
for Nimrod,
from Nimrod at like the end, toward the end of the book, like,
Oh.
and they're interrogating a Knoll.
Yeah,
they're like, he was like, I don't know, like, sometimes X-Men disappear. Sometimes they could be in another dimension. And I'm like, this is more Limbo foreshadowing.
Oh, you know what? Seriously, that it got fun. It got darkly funny. It got like a
this second book.
Yeah.
I could sum up with like foreshadowing for Limbo and trauma. Like, those are the 2 big things about.
But yeah, like, all right, House of M, it was cool. We saw Sync die. We saw other people. I was like, why did they have to kill Sync twice?
They literally brought him back to kill him again. Like, it just did not make sense.
It really didn't.
I did like I said, I loved how they incorporated like Generation X and old New Mutants with the current lineup. I thought that was something that was really, it was good to see them in the field.
Yeah, it showed that the writer knew it. Like, it's like, oh, I have House of M. We could play with all these other toys that we haven't been using in a while. Yeah, okay, let's do it. Cannon fodder.
Like,
Quillboy dies.
Also, I wanted to bring up that when they nope. Sorry, I'm jumping around. Let's see.
Like, I want to get into the William Stryker stuff because that was fun.
All right, let's get into it.
Fun.
Well, before we get into it, let's go over like the childhood end part. Do you know when the Cuckoos died? Like, when they went from 5 to 3?
Okay. One died during the new X-Men run. Another one died.
Because
no, like I like the other one died. I swear it was weird.
Because we see one die in the
2 of them died.
new X-Men run. In M Day, and like, I was like, okay, well, is this gonna get like snapped away, or like retcon? And like, no, just the very next issue, there's only 3, and then now they go by 3 and 1.
Yeah, 2 of them died.
So the 3 and 1 definitely reminds me of like Legion of Superheroes. Also, Triplicate Girls.
We saw the 3 and 1 because they went to the prom with Julian. There was only 3 of them.
Okay.
Remember, he said, I went out with the 3 and 1.
I gotta find out. Like, I don't think it was in the book. I just like remember I was like, oh, okay. After M Day, there's only 3. Um, I do think that like this is like I mean M Day was graphic, and I think that before we move on from the M Day, I think that it was important to read that like the X-Men still protected the humans. You know, they
Yeah.
still protected the minority group. They, as soon as they saw that one of their own turned into, like, went from an oppressed person to an oppressor, they immediately were like, yeah, fuck this guy. You know, like
Oh yeah.
they were like, okay, we have to fight our own to save the humans from this tyranny. And I really liked that. I thought that that kept the spirit of the X-Men.
Yeah.
I thought that like between the deaths of M Day and the deaths of like Childhood's End is just dark. Like this was
Yeah.
the thing that like my dad didn't want me to read as a kid. You know,
It's
like
like this
this
escalated quickly. And then
it,
the
like
gang fight.
rapidly.
No, and then the battle royale. It was like, all right, you're all going in the danger room. Okay, we're gonna pick. You're all gonna pick. We're gonna pick out a new X-Men team. It's gonna be 6 of you. No, yeah, it was like 6, right? 6.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be 6 of you.
4 out of hers, and then Surge and uh
Uh, Elixir.
Elixir. That's right.
So he's like, all right, now it is, and she kind of just went Joker, just threw the knife in there, like, okay, battle to the death.
Um yeah, it was wild.
He's like, but oh yeah, but Jinsel, you, yeah, you guys are exempt. You guys don't have to do this. Yeah,
Right, right. They were like, "Yep, nope, you guys don't even worry about it." Shit, like they do that a lot in the X-Men. They're like, you might not be able to like hold your own, so like sit down, you know?
And Jinsel, you and your turncoat ass.
I had such hopes. I had such hopes, and I like because I really would love to see like a bond between Krakoa and Wakanda.
Wanda? No,
Um,
no, no, never. You know what? No, you know what? I'm gonna. You know what? It's almost Juneteenth, and I'm gonna be respectful of my African people. But
absolutely.
if they, but the other side of me is like, you know what? Fuck Wakanda,
I
because they're
I
hypocrites. The Wakanda are hypocrites because like everything Krakoa is doing, Wakanda does. Like Wakanda could cure cancer. They've said they can cure cancer, but they're like they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna send it out to the world. It's like why?
I
Why would
mean, I
you
think
cure
that
them?
that's where I mean, I saw the argument online that like Killmonger is just Aquaman, but like told from the perspective of Ocean Master is Black Panther. Um, because like they both are coming in and are like, we could make the world better if we like were a part of the world.
Right.
Um, I do think it's telling that they are one of the nations that won't uh
Except Krakoa.
acknowledge, yeah, the Krakoan amnesty.
But they're expected to be friends though. They're expected to be friends.
I mean, I think that that's largely the narrative that like we even talk on when Carol Danvers comes to the mansion, is that like mutants are always expected to play nice with everybody else,
Yep.
but like nobody else is expected to show up or show out for the mutants. And
Right.
I think that it's very telling. Um
Oh yeah.
I get Emma's hesitation for X-23 or Laura or Talon, now currently known as Wolverine, to
But
be in the new X-Men. I
but she
get the
doesn't
hesitation.
understand though.
I,
That
I, I agree.
take it in the really questionable, the most dangerous, like where everybody doesn't really can't really trust them.
Right.
That's classic X Men. They did it
It
with
is.
Green. They did it with Psylocke.
They did.
Yeah, Betsy.
Yeah.
Betsy.
I mean, they're currently doing it with Colossus right now, you know?
Colossus. They did it with Gambit. They did it with Sabretooth. That didn't work out well. But they did it with Emma. No, actually, you know what? Emma, I take that back. No. Emma. And Emma proved herself.
I do think that Emma has proved herself time and time again. And I do think that like each time she serves the Avengers, like their sass back to them tenfold, I live because like she does not just like, oh, remember that time? Like she telepathically like shows you like your shortcomings, especially when it comes to like the oppression that mutants have faced. And I um
I
do.
want harsher combat, harsher digs at the Avengers from Emma. I want
agree.
her to say like, I want like Wasp to say something like, "Oh, we got the White Queen, Emma Frost, the Ice Queen."
It's
Is
like
here.
your
I know
code
you
name is
ain't talking,
Wasp.
real
Are you
drunk
sure?
ass. No, I want her to be like, I want Emma to be like, I know you ain't talking. Like, I'm surprised you're up before noon.
Right.
Like, and you're not hungover. What a shock!
Yep.
That bull. Like, no, just she's not to show that she's not one to be played with. Don't like.
I agree.
Like, watch your mouth.
I agree. You know, I said it in our last podcast, but like, I really love how human each of these characters are, and the fact that there are points where I'm like, I do agree with you, and I don't agree with you. You know, like you're a real asshole for this, and like honestly, that's some queen shit. You know, like, and each character goes through that because like, and I think that that's why Emma specifically loves Hellion. Like she's like, no, he's mine because like we vibe. I get him. Like he's a dick, but like he's, you know,
He's a good
like
dick.
right, exactly.
No, but can we talk about real quick the beginning of that issue? When all the kids found out they didn't have powers and they just went crazy.
I love that
one
there was
kid
a
just punching the wall till his hands bled.
the one guy who was just they just confirmed him this year, the shadow guy, Evan.
Yeah.
He was chasing a shadow. They just confirmed
Yeah.
that he is LGBTQ. But yeah, no, I love that there was a I saw it on in an interview.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Happy Pride, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, happy
I
Pride.
do love that there was a mix of like, oh, thank God, I'm finally saved, I'm cured, I'm blessed, and like this, how could this happen? I literally would rather drown or fall to my death than be human, you know, or like this is literally the worst thing that's ever happened. Like part of my identity is gone. I love that there was a mix between all and like a whole spectrum in between of like disbelief, like could this really even happen? I
Remember when Arrow was like, no, I can fly, and like Emma
was like, no, you can't.
Like Emma was like, I kind of felt like Emma for a minute was like, oh god, this dumb bitch. Hank, get her, please get her. Like she's gonna die.
Here's the thing. Like I said, I love the Guthries because they're a large family who struggle economically, and that's something that I, as an ex-person, could. I mean, I've got 18 cousins, so like that's definitely like I know that life. Yeah. And we talked about it with Kim, David's sister. I would have been Kim. I just want to fly. I just want to fly. You know, like so I can't.
She was just on one though. She was like,
she was like I can't even.
If you want to fly, do it from the ground.
Right. Like, I don't know. And like here's the thing. They only say that her code name is Arrow.
Yeah.
But we have Wind Dancer, and we've never seen Arrow fly. We assume that she has aerokinesis because of her name.
Yeah.
But we don't know her function of mutation, and it only says flight. So like we don't I don't know. I don't know, but like I just couldn't because that's the power I would want most. I just can't even imagine her.
All right, I have an X-Men pitch.
Okay.
Okay. Oh wait, damn it! No, it wouldn't have worked because it wouldn't work now because Franklin is like 15. But when he was like 8, I would have put him, Artie and Leech, and the M twins with Howard the Duck, and have them be the new Power Pack.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I think that in this new Krakoan era, they're taking old names and bringing in new groups, and I think that that works. I mean, they've aged out the Power Pack kids at least to teenage years.
I mean, they could do that with Artie and Leech too, and they could do so with the M twins. Like at least make them a little older.
I
Like,
do think that the Krakoan protocols kind of throws a wrench in any comic book age continuity.
right.
Because they brought, I mean, like, Destiny was like 100 years past old.
Yeah, but
And
I think that was requested that she come back younger.
that's what I'm
She
saying.
wanted,
It's
yeah,
like, that's another what if that was in the opposite? Like, what if a kid was like, I want to be 18? Just download all of the, like, what are the ethical questions of the age process of
I don't think the
Krakoa?
kids have thought about it like that yet. I mean, because like remember, Krakoa, they can kind of do whatever they want. It's kind of like a free state.
Right. And like they don't have school. They literally just telepathically download information into your brain. I read every single Teen Titans volume 3 and I remember going back and going, "Hold on. Like if Impulse was 3 when he was in the body of an 8 or 11-year-old and
Yeah.
then he was like hyper raged to be 14, but it was only like a year in our time. Like, isn't he really like 7 or 8 when he becomes the Flash and like is an adult and like
Yeah,
loses his virginity? Like like
it's a big
where does time
situation.
travel? Like because like logically they age, they experience a different warp of time. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, or kind of like, oh, you look at Vulcan, like um he was ripped from his mother's uterus premature and then aged up till he was like 6 or something.
right.
But like
The,
technically he's like mentally he's like 5 months pre 5 months. You know
I,
what's going on.
I love that. Have you watched the Young Justice cartoon?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm a fan. It's
Good, good,
so
good.
good.
I love in the Billy Batson episode where they actually find out that Shazam is like a child, and they're like, "We need to completely rethink the Justice League," and like they're like, "Okay, well, McGann is like 16,000 years old, and like Connor is 8 months, so
Right.
like." Does Connor have to wait like 18 more years to join the Justice League? Like
I mean,
where
he can date McGann. I mean,
I mean,
technically,
another problematic age gap. Like people want to point out Wither, who I think was 18, and Celine. Still weird. No
hey, no, oh,
excuses.
okay, that was a sugar mama. She knew what she was doing. She
Ah,
knew, like, I mean,
thing. I
with
don't
her,
understand.
but with her, every relationship is is a icky relationship.
It is, and that's absolutely on brand for her. But like Wither, Cecily has been like not like all but throwing herself at you this entire series, and like you're like is it like some deep rooted like anti-visual mutant thing because like Celine comes back and like also has a like her lingerie underneath her old lady
Oh
like
god, that was
like
funny.
she like takes their lives and then like strips off and she's in her Celine bustier and I love it. I live.
Yeah,
But like he sees her and it's like, oh, I could touch you, and I'm like, you've been you Cecily, like this whole time, like what even?
it's nuts. No, like the whole thing with Wither and like he wanted to feel he just wanted to feel. He wanted to touch a woman. And honestly, if I, like he's stupid because I would have gone for Cecily. Cecily
Right,
Cecily was bad. She was a little hottie, but and also, honestly, because of Wither rejecting her, that just made her just made her a prime target for Bling and her predatory ass, because she is predatory.
Bling?
Yeah, Bling is super predatory.
I
Come on.
I don't. There
Come
are people
on.
that are qualified to talk about it than I. I don't think that like
We need
violence
to
is ever
find
the
we need
response to like. But I do think that after a certain point, like you should like. There's like that whole meme about like harassment versus flirting.
yeah.
And I think that Bling needs to like go through the retweets of that meme. You know, like
okay, you know what? Honestly, next time, like part 3, we need to get like we need a lesbian.
I agree. I agree.
I feel like it's weird for me to say that.
No, I mean, absolutely. No, I would love different perspectives on this.
Because I want to hear a woman's perspective. Like, is it
Because like
true or how it? Give me
I'm very
perspective.
much that guy. Like I'll ask once, and like if there's like a no vibe, I'm like, okay, cool, bounce it. Like there's, like I'm out of all of the Academy X kids, and like I do realize that like since the Krakoan age, characters that have been established for decades are finally exploring non-heterosexuality and consensual non-monogamy.
Yeah.
You know, like
I always thought Beast would have came out, because that's
I,
been so funny.
I know
Okay,
that I just saw something on Twitter where like he like tried to like
yeah, he
do
tried to
that, and
come
like
out.
maybe in the Ultimates universe there might have been, I don't know. I also saw him kissing somebody. I haven't read that comic.
No,
But like, do we
no.
really need another?
He told his ex that he was gay, because like kind of just to be mean, and
See, I just, oh that
that
you
made us
know
rough.
like
And Cyclops really talked to him, as like, bro, this is bro. I love you, but you're not gay. Then why only you would think this is funny?
yo, you know what? Mad respect for Cyclops.
Oh
Mad
yeah,
respect for Cyclops to be like, hey guy, like this is tone deaf. Yeah, I really there was um there's been a lot of advocacy of like reading Cyclops as someone who's on the autism spectrum.
yeah.
And I fucking love it. I love it. It's one of those things that didn't make sense until somebody else said it. And I was like,
But what? But I don't.
yes.
But okay, or explain it to me, because like I always thought that he was just a person that just like, okay, I gotta keep it together, um because the X-Men hurting them was like a bunch of cats, and he's like, and they
And
need
like his superpower is a laser eyes. He could definitely control a bunch of cats. Like he's the one. He's the one. I you can tell somebody who's like vaguely a fan of X-Men versus somebody who's read any amount of X-Men because based on their opinion of Scott Summers. And my husband, who's known me since high school, is like, you were that asshole who shit on Scott. And I was like, I am. I was. I am, like that's why like the movies and the cartoons really underrepresented him. I think that the best.
no, that's Claremont. That's all Claremont. That's
Really?
Yeah, that Claremont does that.
Okay.
He did not like. All right, this no one wants to. But he did not like Cyclops.
Okay.
At all. He didn't like Cyclops and Jean at all. He wanted to break him and Jean up and make like Jean and Logan the parents of Rachel. That's why her hair's so short.
I still say that I would love to have a storyline where different timeline mutants and all of the maybe babies, because we see that Forge and Storm could have had a child, and that's the only reason he helps two of them. LOL, I love how I just don't even count the human kid. But
no,
they have two kids, and the daughter who's like on the cusp of pubescence is like Jean, ex-Jean Layton's.
Yeah.
But we see that that's like because I was, Forge asked the logical question, why would I ever help you? And the reader should be asking that question as well. And then to see that it's Storm, and he literally says, I'm going to blow up Storm and Black Panther's wedding if you don't help me. And he's like at this point, it has nothing to even do with like their future together. It's her present. And
yeah,
he
cares
still
about her. He
says,
doesn't want her hurt.
exactly. And I think that it's really telling to see that like his Sentinel override protocol was named Aurora. I thought it was beautiful. But I want to see the maybe babies. Give me the like all of the exile maybe babies. Make more mutants.
No, yeah, that was fun. Also, it got like this book got so bloody. It got like no, the ending of the first one. We saw Icarus. He got ampy. He pulled a Warren Worthington, and like just you're like, bro, what were you doing?
I remember in the first one being like, I don't remember why I hated Icarus. I love him in the first couple issues. He's so good to dust, and I just love that he's just a good dude. And like I like as soon as I even wrote it in my notes, I was like, oh, this is why I hate you. I mean, like he was bamboozled. He didn't do it to kill his friends. He did it because he thought it would save his friends. But like my guy, I don't care what your Republic, like the straightest X-Men in my opinion, and like I know this is gonna piss off a lot of like Berto Sam shippers, is Sam. It's Sam. Like his power is to literally fly so straight that he can't turn. One, two, like he's just so.
No, he's the dependable guy.
Well, here's the reason, because like in the Nimrod series, which I don't know, we're jumping around again.
Yeah, let's do it.
He literally says that like Sam is the one that convinced me that you changed, and we see it through Nimrod's eyes. So it gives a little more backstory to sympathize with Icarus, because like he thought that he was a good dude who like changed. He just said that he was a sign from God, and like just like Beast, Icarus was always that mutant who was not okay with his mutation. After he was like,
his mutation is super unique.
It's gorgeous, and like
right.
Like I would do so many things to sing or mimic someone's voice, and like you're just gonna bitch about it your whole damn life. Like my guy.
Like his power is not even the worst. I think Paige would say, my power is actually your power is actually really pretty. My power, like the worst you have Fuely feathers.
Yeah, and like he was a singer. He could have dazzlered. He could have used his mutant power to to excel in the human world. Like my best friend says that like with social media, mutants wouldn't be oppressed because they would, like do something cool for likes and, clout, and they would be able, he would have been one of those mutants to do that. He could have absolutely been like, hey guys, I'm a tortured mutant soul. Here, listen to my, and been the stereotypical musician,
also
emphasis on stereotypical.
No. I'm glad you mentioned Snapchat, because I wrote this pilot for New Mutants, and Roberto, his powers, like his mutant flare up, it went viral, and people got it at a game.
Yeah.
So it just it spread like. Yeah,
I think that would be a double-edged sword, like you would see the catastrophes that like initiated the Registration Act, and we'll definitely get to that in a bit.
Oh yeah, we are.
But like it would be both sides. You would see the super talented mutants who, like sing and save
oh yeah,
people.
we see Dazzler. Dazzler will be running it. She Oh, we see Siren. Siren would be doing something.
Right.
Uh,
I advocated a couple. I was like, why aren't Bling and DJ like revamping like Dazzler for the younger generation? Like I know so many people who would like pick up that Dazzler 4 issue where like they're rebranding her with like Lizzo or other people that they've dropped in the X-Men universe.
right, right.
Yeah. Like I all right, so I think that Stryker is the X-Men's like pinnacle villain. I think that he is
People would say Magneto. People would say
I
Magneto, though.
Magneto is that villain that like as the years go by, like he's not a villain, he was right. Um and
No,
I
no.
probably would have been in one of those like as much as I hate Quentin Quire because of the whole like new X-Men like I'm gonna overthrow the school. I probably would have. I probably would have been at least one of the mutants he bitched it to. I don't know if I would have done it, but like I definitely would have been the one. He'd have been like, "Hey, how does this sound?" I'd have been like, ah! But ultimately, I'm a rule follower, if I'm being honest.
Oh,
But I think that this. I think that's like I personally appreciated that Moira spent one of her 10 lives just like eliminating the bloodline,
right.
Queen of Fables from the Harley Quinn cartoon style. Like,
That's
you've got
so
to end the bloodline. Like, I respect it. And like, did the Sentinels still come? Yes.
sure. Yeah,
But like, she at least was
she,
like,
she did it though. She
she
did it.
did. She did that. She really made it her life's mission to end that bloodline, and I respect it.
I'm with you though. Like, I don't like Striker. Striker's a different type of villain. Whereas like
Yeah,
Magneto is like their main villain, their main opposition.
yeah.
Striker is like that hidden, like underhanded perspective that's like it's really messed up.
Magneto and Xavier fight over the way that they handle the outside world oppression.
Yeah,
And so that's why they're always combating. But
yeah,
Stryker and people like Stryker are the reasons why they're even fighting about methods to begin with, which is
exactly.
why I say Stryker is
Scary.
absolutely the X-Men's biggest villain.
Okay. Also, with all right, with Stryker, it always takes me back to God Loves Man Kills. And
Yes.
the first panel, we see Magneto fall. He sees a couple of black kids who were mutants
Yeah.
chained up, and that's when I thought, like, okay, this has to be a black metaphor because, one, uh, why like they showed black kids explicitly because they want to show something like these kids were killed because they were different. And yeah, that's basically my main thing about it. But
I wanna add to that in the Ultimates universe, the first opening page is a young black
yeah,
mutant
oh yeah, yeah, I remember
who
that
gets
that dude
stomped on, and
with the
that's when Magneto's like, "Fucking enough!" And
right.
so, like, I
There's a thing
think
finding
that
black children, doesn't he? He did. Magneto has a
Magneto,
thing he
like,
finds black children.
I think that like him as a Holocaust survivor, one is super important to his character,
Yeah.
specifically the Holocaust, not
Oh
just
yeah, of
any
course.
other like random genocide.
Oh yeah, of
And
course.
I do think that it's important, and like with the Krakoan resurrection protocols, we knew that he wasn't staying dead. We knew, and we were okay with it. Why? Because he's necessary. And now that they have a way to bring him back so that we don't have to change his origin story, I think is pivotal. I think it's excellent because there are so like it happened 80 years ago. I was born on the 50th anniversary of Pearl Harbor Day, and like already people are trying to deny that the Holocaust even existed. But to see injustice and here in America, like even though hate crimes for Jewish people and LGBTQ people and other racial minorities, Black Americans are still facing 3 times the spike of hate crimes than any other minority in America. And I think that Academy X and it's sad to even say that, like, with Prodigy and Tag, it was really only two.
Yeah.
But the two introduced mutants that they gave us was, like, I mean, Monet and Everett, like, can we get more than two Black mutants that aren't dying for the greater cause? Like, I would love to see more Black mutant, and like we have some with like Gimmick and Oya, like, or yeah.
Yeah, we have a
I
couple. We have a nice little couple movies never actually see, like,
I mean, and
they're mostly
there's
in the
plenty. There's
background.
Temple, there's Bishop. I mean, there's so many. But I'm glad that there's a new team coming out, and it is like 4 out of 7 Black mutants, and I'm glad to see that we're showcasing Black mutants for more than just the poster child who gets
Yeah,
nothing more,
yeah,
like, or the sacrificial Black mutant lamb for
yeah. Like
Magneto's
like
rage. This
yeah,
story,
like but here's the thing though, when he saves Black children, it's cool because like when we found out
I
with Maggot and with Magneto and Maggot, it was like, whoa. I didn't even see it as a white savior complex. I just saw it as like Magneto is that guy. He's just that dude.
and he is like when he freed those human slaves, like they were like, "What are you gonna do?" And he was like, "Stay here, and we'll get you where you need to be, but stay here until then." And they're like, "On here, on like Island M, or
Yeah.
I think it was Island M." And he was like,
No,
"Yes, I hate
it was
slavery."
Krakoa. No, it was Krakoa.
Was it?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
part of Krakoa. No.
Okay.
Remember when Emma said when he told his reaction when Emma told him like, "Oh, we're gonna have humans on the island." He's like, "Humans on what island?" Like, what? No, this one? No, we don't do that here. No, like, and yeah,
That's why I thought it was like Island M or something, like the Krakoa or the Hellfire Gala
yeah.
island that they use every
Oh,
year.
the Mechanos island. Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah. But no, I think that let's see. I think that it was so telling that they used religion to mask and masquerade and parade their hatred for mutants.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've seen it time and time again. Anytime that there is social progression for like human Americans, there is religious zealotry
Yeah,
as a pushback.
yeah. Absolutely. Like we've seen this a time and time again. Like, um, I'm one of the few who grew up with George Carlin, so I was already prepared. Like
Yeah.
anytime, like you said, anytime we get any kind of social progression on like on a societal tip, we always get like a religious pushback. It's like, I mean, like 50 years ago, it was you couldn't I it was illegal to marry interracially. Up until like a few years ago, it was illegal for you to get married. They
Yeah,
wouldn't acknowledge you.
yep, we are celebrating our 8th year this year of marriage
Damn,
equality.
damn straight. All right.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
But yeah, like, and each time they are, I mean, they did it with integration, they did it with Love versus Virginia, they
Yeah.
did it with marriage equality, and they're currently doing it with trans rights and healthcare. It's always it's the same narrative, and it's never love your brother, it's never love your neighbor as yourself. It's always
It's like, oh,
opposition to
kill these.
change.
Oh, these people are going against God because we're not getting our cut.
Yes.
It's not paying us our. It's. I swear, it's almost extortion. Like,
It is, and like it's literally the definition of like using the Lord's name in vain to like use it to propel your hatred. I think that, I mean, like, they literally are like this the childhood's end crusade era is literally so, I mean, it was a foreshadowing of, I mean, well, it already was happening in America, the school shootings. But like, this was a home invasion. This was a school invasion. This was
yeah.
a targeted attack
So
on like, I
this
mean,
is
this was supposed to
Columbine.
be a safe haven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a yeah. You were absolutely. This is a school attack. and when like uh but also you got to look at the political climate at the time too. This is 2006.
Six. Yeah.
2006. We were in the middle of a war. We were like during the
Yep.
occupation of Iraq, and
Yep.
people were
And
dying.
and that also, I mean, like that also absolutely came into play because I mean they literally fly and crash a plane. I mean, like it is a comic of the time, and like after 9/11, our ratings went extremely. I mean, like we saw people jump to their deaths on the news, you know? So like what gore was acceptable was emphatically changed because we saw such gruesome reality. And I think that it also changed comics because I mean they're blown up, they're shot in the head, they're shot in the back of the head, they're shot in their beds, they are I mean like they die every which way, and um like there's a total deaths in like this in these 16 issues of 47 mutants,
Oh, 47. I'm sorry, 47.
of like of the new mutants that
Yeah,
were introduced, and it does feel like they introduced a classroom of kids just to pick them off one by one.
and like and like you were in like it was already sad because like they were like I'm like you have to go, and they were saying goodbye. You thought like okay this is gonna be weird because like there's only like 8 of us left.
I love that like when they juxtaposed Stryker and his like televised, you know, like sermon or whatever you call
Yeah,
it, and the sold out stadium versus like the 6 mutants in the, you know, like theater conference room
yeah.
of the school, was very telling because at times it can feel like that. But right now they just like retested everything, and like Americans are like 78%, you know, still supportive of marriage equality,
Yeah,
which was reassuring in these tumultuous, very scary times.
hey, be careful though. They repealed Roe versus Wade. Wait,
That honestly,
it's weird.
we were very aware of
That's
that.
a weird regression, isn't it? It's a weird
It's
regression.
emphatically weird.
Like,
It hasn't even been repealed for a year yet, and I know because we got married like the weekend after,
yeah,
just to make sure that we would be grandfathered in. It's I
it's
mean
just weird.
we're seeing that that one court case that was such a cornerstone in every American's autonomy,
Yeah,
is being challenged on a local and state level, and I mean, and
it's
because like
weird.
the bills in Florida wouldn't even be able to be passed, you know, or proposed if Roe versus Wade was still in effect.
All right, it's my all right. This is just me. This is my quick take. No one wants an abortion. Okay, it's always a last resort. Like,
Right.
no one like hey, a woman's body is her own fucking business. But at the
Absolutely.
same point, like no one's like saying, oh, snap! I better get an abortion. It's for birth control.
Absolutely.
Women aren't like that.
I think it's important to even to highlight that even in media like Orange is the New Black,
yeah,
where she like was in jail for shooting people for disrespecting her for having 13 abortions, you know, like she wasn't necessarily like she was vilified, she was
yeah,
the crazy meth head lady, you know,
yeah.
like we like in society, no, I haven't heard a single ever heard a person who was like, nope, abortion's my preferred way for birth control. I've never heard that ever. You know what I mean? So I think that it is just uh, like they keep saying that like we're having baby shortages, and I can't find them because everyone I know is either married and pregnant or just had a kid. You know,
Oh my
um,
god.
Right. I do think that like after I mean the issue 23 and 24 were just going back over their trauma, like immediately after they were bombed, shot, and, assassinated,
God,
they
gee,
had to fight each other in a like last person standing
battle
royale.
royale, like it was weird. Like
Like
and then Emma and her crafty ass had to go. Hey, Hellions, I want you all to stay together, okay? So take everybody out, but essentially take out that little bitch X-23 first. I'm like,
let's talk about X-23 for a second. Uh, Emma didn't want like okay, so I was somebody who always like absorbed the media of X-Men before the comics of X-Men. So like I was watching X-Men Evolution as it was coming out while the movies were coming out, like X-Men Hard.
yeah,
And like my sister emphatically imprinted on the Scarlet Witch and X-23 from X-Men Evolution. And like so Childhood's End was the only was the only one out of the trilogy, like the one we're talking about right now, was the
yeah.
only one I could get in the library as a kid. So like this was my only introduction like at 14 of the X-Men and I was like, "Oh, this is why." And so like when I was, like during COVID and like after the Krakoan era, I always felt like those were my team. So like I wanted to start again
Right.
and reread the original. But
Yeah.
I absolutely remember watching this and being like, this is insane, and like
All
and
this
like
stuff coming
it's
after my.
very much like welcome to the X-Men. I hope you survive the experience.
They really mean that, though. They
They
really,
do.
they really.
Um, I think that it was like they're still dealing with the mental health issue, and that's always been something that I loved about the X Men as well. That's also why Batman's my favorite DC property is
Oh,
their like allegories, metaphors, and connections with mental health and mental illness. Um,
but
and
sometimes it's not mental health. Sometimes people are just crazy. Like the
and
Joker,
that's mental
he's
illness,
nuts.
like sometimes they just crazy.
Like
Um,
he's the Joker. He's just nuts. Just kill him, and like don't
I
make a
yes,
big deal
yep,
about it.
yep. Like as much as I love Batman, I am the Midnighter. Like I'm the gay Batman who kills sometimes if it needs to, like. And
Like
I feel like Joker is one of those who like only like he's only alive because Batman and Superman, and I genuinely believe that because like any other person, I mean, like that should be a DC event. Like the Joker has like the highest hit. Like Lex Luthor puts a hit on the Joker, and like because then it would go from I really would love to see how the heroes protect the Joker. Because
oh
I
yeah.
feel like it would be Superman and Batman, and all the rest of them are like, what the villains? I mean, one less villain, and honestly, the worst. So, like, why are we helping?
See, this is why I call Batman a pussy.
I
No, no,
again, going back to mental
only
illness and
because he
mental
doesn't play the
trauma,
Joker. Because
like,
everybody else would get it, and like I'm pretty sure even the other rogues would be like, yes, finally.
like I don't know anyone. I mean, like the working for any villain would be bad, and like obviously, I do think that they need to have more Batman comics centered around what Bruce Wayne and Wayne Tech are doing to better the lives of the Gothamites who live there.
Because that is
Um,
hilarious. What they
I think it would be
hilarious.
good. But like their grief and their trauma, it's very clearly PTSD. Like these children are like they they're genocide survivors. Like this was like twice over, like M Day and then the bomb. Like a lot of people want to like put those two things together because they happened like consecutively. But like, and then Scott has the audacity to be like, "You're safe. I know it's been a rough couple weeks," and it's like it's easier for me to see that like because my brothers are also on the spectrum and
Right.
like sometimes when they're talking about when they're talking in general, they're actually talking more specifically. And so, like, for me, seeing that, it was easy to see Cyclops as a autistic coded person who, like, is talking about, like, you're safe right now, right here. And, like, but even then, like, just being utterly tone deaf to the
I
whole
always thought he was just trying to
situation.
be. I always thought he was just trying to be calming because like he's being a leader because like he's like Cyclops is what I always imagined what Captain America would be if Captain America was a mutant. So
Yes.
and everybody's like, oh, he's on the spectrum. Oh, he doesn't like. It's like no.
I think that there's a lot of negative connotation to people on the spectrum. Like that's not to say that he's not high functioning. That's not to say that he isn't a functioning member in his society. I think that like there's just a lot of literary text that could be seen in a way where he is
I
maybe
just
not
want
the
to know
most
how
socially
he's on
aware about the situations.
I just always want to know how he's on the spectrum. Like what ticks, what personality traits of his.
So I mean, we don't like every autistic person doesn't necessarily have ticks.
I know. I mean,
I mean, like my
I don't mean
brother
like a
did.
tick. I don't mean a
Yeah.
tick. Like
I think that it's like it is a part of his mutation, but part of his mutation allows him to not look people in the eyes when he's talking to them. Um, and there are some things that he's just absolutely emphatic about. And like that's not necessarily like an autistic trait. It's just a trait that reminds me of my brother, who's
okay,
also autistic, if that makes
okay,
sense.
okay.
But like when X-23 comes on, and we need to,
Oh,
when she comes on, he's like, she will be in the school. She's
yep,
a mutant.
yep.
Like Logan cleared her. Like that was the end of the line. Like when
And
she
I
picked
like
her
how
6 mutants, he was
and I
like
like how it,
7 because X-23 will be on the new X-Men team and
and I like
we're
how
going to talk
Emma
about
was
this
about to
later.
go, but and Scott was like, "Bitch, sit down."
I
He told her down. He's just like
he did.
sit down.
Scott defended Laura, and Laura never forgot that. And I think that Laura, that's why like her and Cyclops were always good.
Yeah,
Like from what I've seen, like
yeah.
they've always been
Oh,
dependable on each other.
that explains why she joined X Force for him.
I could see that,
That
you know.
she's like,
Um,
you said I could be here, and you're using what I'm good at. Okay, I'm with it. I'm
and
like,
let's be clear. Let's be clear. Without X-23, Soroya would have been dead. The
yeah,
whole Nimrod future would have been done. They
yeah,
would not have known that Jay Guthrie was dead because X-23 was the one listening in on the whole time.
true.
There are so many instances where Laura's opinion or observation of things, of like, he smells like death, these must be the guys. Like, Laura is the invisible glue of this whole team and the second book, and she was absolutely more enriched. And I definitely remember being excited because I recognized X-23 from the cartoon, and I was able to like as a kid.
Right,
Um, but she really does hold this whole book together. I love everything about her. And after Surge and the way that she treated Soroya
yeah.
after 9/11, like it was refreshing to see Laura be kind. And like also, I mean, like, but also she was in Afghanistan and killed a bunch of people.
Oh, also, we haven't even gotten to Laura's return to the Weapon X program.
That is true.
We haven't even talked about that yet. That was
Is that in this
like,
book?
no, the next one. That'd be next.
Okay. I was like, I don't have notes. Where are my notes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But like all in all, I really love like just you could tell they cared about each other. They were trauma. This is the trauma generation.
Yes, yes, yes. Trauma and foreshadowing are the 2 words for this
Dramatic
book.
foreshadowing. That's great.
I mean, and like the foreshadowing is more trauma. Like they're literally going to the X-Men version of hell. You know, like it's not what it is, but it's not what it is, but it's not what it is. You know.
All right, so like we had House of M, then it's Nimrod. After that is who else?
Oh, it was House of M and then M Day where all of them died.
Yeah.
And then it was
Childhood's End.
Crusade with Stryker. So I want to touch back on the religious aspect of it and him calling them the children of Satan.
It's so weird. Like
it's
like okay, all right, if he feels his way about mutants, how does he feel about the Fantastic Four? How does he feel about the Avengers?
I think that it's perfectly stated because he knew, like, he's the one who killed them all and he planned it with, like, Nimrod's future thing. And when Jay asks him, like, but why? They were human. They were normal. They had no residual X gene to even activate. He said they were the most dangerous among them because those were the humans that were going to turn the population into sympathizers. So I think I as soon as, and we've seen this multiple times with like multiple man, with Beast, with Akihiro, not Akihiro, Shiro, Sunfire.
Yeah.
All of these people whose parents were with radiation, like the Fantastic Four, had mutant children, which is why I was so mad about Franklin Richards not being a mutant. That's what got me into the Krakoan era. That's what made me go to the comic book shop and was like, where's House of X, the Powers of 10? I was mad about it. I was, because like the whole premise was like, do you know if your kid's a mutant? And he was the literal poster child. Like and we haven't had like
the Fantastic Four with that entire arc just showed me that they are so elitist. Like they don't really know what the hell they're talking about.
And like it's absolute projection that they were like, you elitist scum, like you won't let my daughter come here, but my son can. Like you're superior. Like
they what are you
talking? Like, who are you to talk, Miss Sue Storm? Dr. Sue Storm? Like calm down. Like
no, that's why she's the invisible Karen to me, because like the only difference between the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and the Avengers is that the Fantastic Four and the Avengers have a better PR team.
That's it.
They know how to distance themselves from the X-Men.
I think it's literally, and this is why it was so important for me that Franklin Richards was a mutant, is that like it's the fear that you might have to love your child still if they develop into a mutant. It's fear. And like that's why for me, like with the puberty and the fear of parents is such a queer allegory for me. Okay. Because you don't know if your child will or won't be. And I think that metaphor.
Okay, I can see it for that. Okay,
yes, because like 40, like it's anywhere from like 42 or 53% of like LGBTQ kids will be kicked out at one point or another, and that's not to say that some kids come home, but like at some point, like their parents just can't handle it.
It's a knee-jerk reaction from parents who don't know what they're like. They don't know how to respond, so they just like, I kick you out. Yeah,
exactly. And so, and like we see that to like that rhetoric of like Satan's children, like the Florida Republican judge Webster Barnaby down in Florida, like literally called like queer and trans kids mutants, demons, and Satan's imps. And I'm like,
I'd be like, oh, mutancy, Carcosa, yeah.
I mean, like, and that's why, like, as of this year, like, there can never be a division of like queerness in the X-Men because one, I mean, even when this came out and I was a kid and I was Googling gay superheroes, it was only X-Men. It was North Star was the first openly gay one, and Richter and Shatterstar were the first gay kiss in comics.
Yeah.
And then like the decades worth of queer metaphors of Mystique and Destiny that hadn't been confirmed until the Krakoan era. So like it was mutants, it was X-Men, and like we are literally seeing it in our legislation like this year. So I think yeah, it was wild. It's wild.
It's nuts, and only gets crazier because
Yep.
like the Limbo stuff is nuts. The Weapon X stuff is nuts.
It's
Camila ends up being Laura's Sabretooth, and I was like, yes, she is her Sabretooth. She's gonna start just messing with her, and I'm like,
I'm excited.
Emma had to ruin it. And then Emma had to ruin it by removing by finding her, and that was I was like, I understand why you did it, Emma, but that was a bitch move.
Right.
I think that's the one thing that separates her from Logan. She doesn't have a mortal enemy, enemy who just like I hate you on sight.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Yeah. Because she really doesn't. I mean, I couldn't rattle it off for you.
Camila is the best one because she's like an older Laura, more put together, and she's like, you can't hurt me, bitch. You gotta try harder.
Yep. I love that Colossus one man this entire team.
Oh yeah.
He came in and was like, "Oh, that's all the electricity that he basically implied that like Surge wasn't shit because he's taken Storm's lightning before,
or he's taking other more powerful mutants.
He was like, "Oh, this is nothing compared to what I'm used to," and I was like, "Okay, Colossus, flexing a bit." But also,
I like any kind of Colossus flex because what they're doing to him. Okay, all right. Oh, real quick, I'm talking about. I recorded it, it's okay. Colossus. He was leaving clues. He said, "Bitch," like I'm like, look, just say something's wrong. and he was, and she's like, Pete, we're friends. Like, who are you talking? And like, what are you talking about? You know, you're closer to Emma than you are to me. We haven't spoken since you humiliated me at the altar. Like, let's talk
like
that.
What friends? Like, are you still banging my sister?
You took everybody else. You took Logan, Oral, and Kurt. They're all your friends now. But hey, that's the thing though. They've always.
I think that really needs to be showcased because like mess ups or breakups are messy, and like it never breaks evenly. I mean, I think there's a song about like the heart doesn't break even.
Yeah.
But like you do lose friends, and like the friends who stay neutral are the real ones.
And they're super and like no, it just kind of like I've been saying this for years. That group is super cliquey. They're super like Storm I'm telling you, Kitty, Storm, Wolverine, and Nightcrawler, they are the plastics. They are the Heathers. They are the mean girls. They think they're so good, but they're not.
You're so right about that. That it hurts.
I'm not wrong.
Like everyone wants to come for Jean that she's the popular girl.
Nope.
No. I mean she is, but like
she's adjacent. Jean's untouchable because she cool with all of them.
That one.
Jean does her own thing. Cyclops, everybody is kind of cool. Wolverine hates on him for some reason, but he likes him.
Right.
Storm likes to think like Storm respects Cyclops, but I don't think she likes him anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think they're friends anymore. I think they're civil. Like I put this on Twitter earlier today. It sucks that the X-Men don't even seem like they hang out anymore. They
I
don't
do.
hang
Yeah, I think that we should get every now and then like short, like, and I hate to say that the road trip era, because I know that that's, like, you either hate it or you love it.
Yeah.
But I've been craving like more, both friendship development and like societal, like we still have so many questions about the society of Krakoa that I would love to see, like a day in the life of like regular Krakoans, but also like short stories to like develop friendships and stuff. And I know that like
This is
there
what
are
X-Men
some great
Infinity should be
ones.
doing. This is
Say
what
what?
this is what X-Men Infinity should be doing.
I kind of agree.
Like, I just like, I just like, it's like, but yeah, that's what I mean. Kurt, Oro, Logan, and Kitty are the mean girls. They're the Heathers. They're Cher and Dion from Clueless. They are they are bitches.
They're the Lost Boys in the Neverland.
Yeah, exactly. Every click, they're the Hawks from the Mighty Ducks movies,
Yep.
and they're just dicks. And everything they do, they get a pass. Like no one talks about when Storm sent Wolverine to and she actually told Wolverine to uh take out Marrow for her. No, and the only reason why uh Marrow beat Wolverine, but no one ever talks about that. No one ever. Nightcrawler. No, he doesn't really do anything. He's kind of like the can. He's the no. Yeah, he's the Karen. He's the dumb one. He's like my
He's
my breast can tell when it's raining.
Night-
And him.
Nightcrawler is the, like, I mean, he's the mutant passing one. So like if we're gonna read that as like a less desirable or like unattractive metaphor, like he's just happy to be there. Like he's just happy to be part of the cool kids, and that's why he doesn't say anything, is because like he doesn't want to jeopardize his spot with the cool kids.
He's the himbo. He's
He,
Karen.
you know who was also big himbo, and I put it in the notes?
Who?
Santo. I miss him.
No. Santo. No, Santo was he was a himbo.
He
But
was the himbo.
but he
Like,
was like the big dumb one. He was like he was like the asshole big brother or the asshole cousin who was
yes.
actually really kind of nice.
Yes.
But he was also like, no, he was Nelson Muntz from The Simpsons.
Okay.
Like because with him and a Noel and Pixie, he just like punches them in the stomach and laughs at them and calls them nerds.
He is that.
He is Nelson.
But he is also like I've been a Knoll, and I've had friends that were rock slides. Like one of my good friends, and like I knew from the first day that I met him, he was gonna offend me, and I just like needed to hold him to a lower standard than everybody else. And like like that friendship, like I can understand why they were like an unlikely pairing. And I think that like Victor just got that. Like he was just like, he's gonna make fun of me because I'm a gay lizard, and I just need to like.
No. Actually, no. Here's the thing: he didn't make fun of him because he was gay. He just made him because he was a nerd. He was no. He's like, and I wanted to see. It's just like, are you gonna make fun of me for being gay? Like, no, that's weird. No, I'm making fun of you because you're a nerd.
There was one of my favorite like issues that I bought, like it was just a single. What a Knoll was on the cover, and it was like Nightcrawler and Northstar dealing, like a Knoll's going on his first date. This is way outside of Academy X, but like he's freaking out because he's like, I didn't tell this guy I'm a mutant. We met on a gay dating app, but I'm stressed. And Northstar's like, being gay isn't that scary, and he's like, I'm shedding. Like I'm a lizard. you wouldn't know what it's like. And like Nightcrawler pops up and he goes, I do, I smell of sulfur. Like I literally look and smell like a demon. And um I think it was the sister master or the ladies mastermind that came and were like showing their greatest fear. And I remember an online comic, and I don't know if it was like an actual comic that was online or if it was like a fan made comic.
No, go for it.
But it was an older one, and I read a couple years before where like Nightcrawler looks at Northstar and is like, "You're an abomination." And like Nightcrawler Northstar looks at him and goes, like, "Are you serious? Like, are you seriously talking right now? The blue demon in the room is gonna call me the abomination? Like, get a clue." And like kind of walked out. So I'm not gonna lie, there were a couple years like I said, I don't know if that's a real comic or if it was a fan made.
It sounds like Ultimate. It sounds like Ultimate X-Men.
It does. Okay, that makes sense.
Because like Nightcrawler he went that hard. He he was He was anti-gay back in in his run
in the Ultimate
run. Yeah.
Okay, I have the Ultimate X-Men, but I'm on like volume 6 of that.
Yeah, that's later. It's later.
Okay. So I was always standoffish of Nightcrawler until this single issue where like the ladies mastermind are having like bigoted Nightcrawler in Northstar's face. And Nightcrawler comes up and just like, like pirate slashes him and is like, "That's enough of that bullshit. Like, fuck that guy." And he was like, "Bro, is that really how you feel of me?" And he was like, "I don't know, dude. You were like balls deep in the church. I didn't know how to feel or how you would feel, or I always just kept a safe, healthy gay distance, And it meant a lot for me.
I just kept it to myself.
Right. It was really healing for me and like really cathartic because like I did still have that Ultimates run in the back of my head with Kurt, and I think that there was a Reddit poll and they asked you.
That was a weird rendition, a weird take on him, I admit.
Right. And like I feel like that was such a in all honesty, that was my first like interaction reading Kurt in a comic because like I said, back in the early 2000s, I was either, trying to rent something from the library or skimming online, where I could. And so like it did put me off from Nightcrawler for a bit until that comic. And it was like Extreme X-Men like 116 or something. I don't know. I'm guesstimating.
It's kind of weird that Nightcrawler would have a problem with being gay. If you think about it, Catholicism is the gayest religion of all. A bunch of dudes following a dead man.
And
you can't have sex.
Right. But also like they're the number one who's like, just say some Hail Marys, you're good, like honestly, like growing up where like the only like gay representation on television was really Law and Order SVU, which was horrific, and like Will and Grace.
Lauren from Angel.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved his empathic singing, prophecy powers. Loved him. I did. Yeah.
He was great. Like I loved Lauren. Lauren gave me a lot of perspective. Like I have no problem.
Yes, I think that it's important. There was a tweet that said like hairstylists and flight attendants walk so that like athletes and construction workers could run, and that's very true. Like it's sad that we had to have an empathic demon on Angel to generate a little sympathy for but it was that again, he was a character that I saw and immediately was like, oh, I got you.
Wouldn't Lauren doesn't Lauren look like an older version of a Noel?
I could see that. You know what I would love to do with a Noel? Like if we just made the whole X-Men a magic book, like if Excalibur kind of like expanded or did like a magical event, and like
there's so many things I would do with Excalibur to make it actually interesting. Get rid of the
I
Anglo-Saxon stuff. I would
I
I would actually go into the whole Draco thing and figure out what the hell is going on with Azazel. Because honestly, I think Azazel is actually from Morocco. He's an Iraqi mutant.
huh.
That's just me. That's just how I look at it. Like
Maybe through his teleporting powers, that's how he got back.
exactly.
You
That's
know,
like he was. That was him teleporting back, but he couldn't stay very long. It
fuck, I'd read it.
right, and also the
I
Neo.
and like here's the thing: they have demons on Otherworld.
Yes.
Like they are like demons, you
Yeah.
know, like and we've seen that in the New Mutants run in the Krakoan era. That
Yeah.
we've seen
Yeah.
mutants who were like, "Hey, I like it better here because nobody's wigging that I look like a demon." Um, I think that I mean there's so many genealogical like lineage things that we could do between Storm, and Iceman and Nightcrawler and Pixie. You know, like honestly, let's make a Knoll a Dragonborn and like
Oh, and also like also there was this whole thing with Icarus and Archangel.
yes,
Because
being
the angel,
Cerebim, yeah,
the seraphim, the seraphim. I don't.
Seraphim.
Yeah. So and
Yes, I'm here for it. You know, like also with all of like the X-Men, because I'm a lore whore and I
yeah,
spend a lot of time online looking up different things that I
of
haven't read
course.
yet.
Yeah.
Um, there was one called the Hybrids, and like it was a whole breeding like facility to see if aliens and humans would create mutant hybrid children. And
Okay.
so like I would love to dig into that, and I would love to make a Nola Dragonborn. Like why not? You know? Like have him breathe fire and like the wings, yeah, I don't know, flip a coin. Yeah.
Okay. I'm with that. I'm with that. Um. Okay. Like come, wrapping it up. I really, really love like this part two is just so good.
It
Like
is.
read the book, people. Read the book. Like it.
Yes.
Like you're gonna. It's action packed. You're gonna look at this and like, no wonder these kids are trauma. But like these kids are trauma bonded. Like no
Um,
wonder these kids are just humping each other. They needed to. Like
like it is very like seeking it's escapism through romance, and I think that that's very clear in this high school drama, but I think that that's also valid for all the things that they go through. One of the things I thought that was super interesting is they use vibranium weapons when they come in and try to kill them, and
yeah,
that's what cuts through Emma Frost's diamond skin,
yeah,
and
that
what
was that. But
and like they
how easy can they get vibranium?
that's the question. That was my question, because like vibranium should be like on lock, like
It should be
locked
really
down
hard to
somewhere.
get. But William Stryker has an act. He has a plug. He has a
to
he has a
to like
vibranium
vibranium
plug.
knives and bullets.
See, like I like see. This is what I think. I would love to see a book on the villains and like how well do they know each other. Like um William Stryker, he got his vibranium from let's say Claw. They go golfing together on every other Saturday. Like like
I,
like
I like
Mysterio
like making
shows
a
up.
Marvel Suicide Squad.
Not like a Suicide Squad. Just so like they're just hanging out. Like
Okay,
we find out that there's like various groups of villains. Like
I'm here for that.
like Stryker likes
I
to hang out with the Red Skull and
Orcus.
Loki. Yeah. And who else?
I
Dr. Stasis, and they play golf on the weekends, and they like to talk shit about Dr. Stasis, saying like, "Hey man, I hear he's a mutant." I know, right? That's weird. They
um
really
is
catch.
Stryker still in the comics?
No, he's dead. He's dead.
Okay. Because like I feel like if he wasn't, he should have shown up with the Orcus stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. All right. So, Wolverine Gold. I'm 1407 Gray Malkin. We'll see you soon.